Well, have you ever been curious about those who reach the top of the career ladder from those who do not? Well, our next guest did. She did, and then after a 3-year study, maybe 4, as I just found out, wrote a book and is now sharing some of those secrets. Dr. Jude Burke is the author of The Millionaire Mystique and joins us right now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Diana. Thank you for having me. We had a sample of over 100 highly successful men and women, and they were mostly self-made millionaires and multimillionaires. And that's not what we intended to do, but it just so happens as we had our snowball sampling effect and we asked our friends to get the survey out to more and more people, that's who responded. We have comparisons to the general norms, and we tested for sex differences and similarities.
You just touched on, I was going to ask you, what is it that drove this and why do we need this now? You mentioned the economy, but is that the only reason?
Well, I'm a psychologist and I'm an executive coach, and so I'm naturally very curious about how people become who they are as adults. And so I designed a research study with Dr. Mark Attridge. It's a scientific research study, and we studied a couple hundred female and male millionaires. My publisher suggested, Nicholas Brealey, that I do the book on women. And what I found was astounding, that 35% of these very successful women in large corporations still say they're experiencing sexism today, and they have great advice. Interestingly enough, too, the male millionaires and multimillionaires, average age of all these people was about 57. The men also said that becoming financially and professionally successful for women is much more difficult for men. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't write this book because it was all easy for me. It was way too hard. And I thought along the way, if I can make it easier for other people that don't have guidance either in their careers, I wanted to do that.
But if somebody's watching at home and they might not be an extrovert, is this something that they can learn? Or are there certain things that this book will help them that maybe, so if they're not an expert, maybe they pay attention to details and they have, some other things that they do. Is there a way of working around that to try and see and make the same success?
Very much so, and I'm an executive coach, and at the end of each chapter I have specific advice on how to overcome obstacles, how to deal with those detours, and understanding that failure is a part of success.
Besides being a smarty pants, what do you need to do to become a millionaire?
Well, there are certain work styles that are reinforced. And then, of course, we all like to be around people that are fun-loving and optimistic, people that see the glass half full. On average, these people had 2 adverse childhood events, and we're talking about serious events, yes. This
like
was
abuse?
Abuse, yes, there was child abuse for 20% of these self-made millionaires, for the men and the women, and also there was poverty.
So it isn't this idea that you are just born into a rich family and you go on and you have the silver spoon and you are successful and that's who becomes the millionaire.
Definitely not. So the previous research findings, very much a surprise to us. 18% witnessed ongoing physical or emotional abuse at home, and 22% said there was alcohol and drug abuse in their family. Most often it was a parent.
And is part of your story in this book as well?
It is.
Excellent.
The publisher made me put my story in the
Okay.
book. So yes, my story's in the book. The main message I want to leave you with is that, yes, this group of individuals, they are in your workforce. 1 in 5, 1 in 4, they are there already. They're a resilient group, and there are many studies that show that individuals that are very sensitive, that have harsh parenting with a little bit of TLC or intervention become the strongest individuals and the most successful. So it's worth taking the time to help those that are struggling at work. Thank you. Thank you.